Hegel.
The Super Mario series is gaming's most iconic and storied franchise, and no other series can ever touch the sheer amount of importance that Mario has had on the industry. Players have literally played as Mario in hundreds of games that have everyone's favorite plumber performing tasks such as saving Peach from the wrath of Bowser to teaming up with his brother Luigi on the tennis court. But no other group of games defines the plumber as well as his home 3D console adventures, and today we here at the Hub World are going to analyze and debate 5 different aspects of these games: their story and characters, their sounds, their charm, their level design, and their gameplay to ultimately decide which 3D Mario adventure is the definitive title in the series. This time on Series Showdown, home console 3D Mario games. Gameplay.
For the first time in history, Super Mario entered the 3D realm in Super Mario 64. Along with Mario's standard jumping ability from his 2D adventures, the plumber can also punch, kick, and slide in all directions. The C-Stick also allowed for near-perfect camera control. Instead of the basic structure from the 2D predecessors, Mario found himself having to deal with multiple trials with a focus on exploration and puzzle solving, rather than a linear pathway to the goal. This included activities such as racing penguins, battling giant bombs, and collecting red coins. While the 2D games used power-ups such as the Fire Flower and Frog Suit, this game introduced only 3 time-based power-ups that aid the player in traversing the world and solving puzzles. This was also the first game in the series to introduce the Collect-a-thon structure, where the player was tasked with collecting stars in order to progress through the game. This also introduced a new health system to the series, where Mario was able to take multiple hits without shrinking, removing the need for mushrooms and adding a new function to coins. Truly, Super Mario 64 set a standard for not only 3D Mario games, but all 3D platformers to follow. Super Mario Sunshine took the Mario series in a completely different direction than it had ever seen before. Rather than purely focused on platforming like its predecessor, Super Mario Sunshine introduced a new unique style of play in its flood mechanic. By utilizing a device that can shoot water, Mario was now able to spray, hover, and propel through the various levels of the game. This game is also unique in that it takes a lot more focus and precision and patience rather than fast-moving platforming. The game also put Mario into a ton of smaller gameplay types, such as surfing on squids and riding on roller coasters. For the first time since Super Mario World, Yoshi made his playable appearance. Once again, Mario could ride on his dinosaur pal everywhere except in water, which was literally everywhere in this game. While it may stray too far from the regular Mario formula for some players, its difficulty and unique style of play will always make Super Mario Sunshine a masterpiece in its own right. The gameplay of Super Mario Galaxy revolved around the introduction of the gravity mechanic as Mario ventured through different planets. With this gravity mechanic, the gameplay became more dynamic as players could launch themselves between different planets and also explore said planets by walking upside down. With the use of launch stars, Mario could blast to another planet with the shake of the Wii Remote to continue his adventure through the level, and could also go into a sort of free float mode and pull himself towards certain points in order to travel between planets. In order to defeat enemies in Mario's path, the player could simply point at the screen and press B on the Wii Remote to shoot star bits. These star bits could also be used to feed hungry lumens in order to open up new paths in the level. Galaxy also introduced the Bee, Boo, Ice, and Spring Mario power-ups, which instantly became favorites since they add a lot of fun options to the game. Also, it was the first console 3D Mario game to include a cooperative mode, although it only really involved the second player shooting star bits. Overall, Super Mario Galaxy followed the same traditional Mario gameplay basis, but adds fun new mechanics that made the game feel like a fresh new adventure. Super Mario Galaxy 2 is the first ever direct sequel in the 3D Mario line of games. Because of this, rather than introducing a new way to play, Super Mario Galaxy 2 built upon the system featured in Super Mario Galaxy. This means that, for the most part, Super Mario Galaxy 2 shares identical gameplay to its predecessor. However, there were definitely some notable additions. First of all, Yoshi was included as a character in the game that Mario could ride, similar to Super Mario Sunshine. However, this game introduced fruit-based power-ups for Yoshi, which made his gameplay structure much more innovative than ever before. Super Mario Galaxy 2 also introduced 3 new power-ups: the Rock Mushroom, the Cloud Flower, and the Spin Drill. Cloud Mario had the ability to make cloud platforms to travel across large gaps, while Rock Mario allowed Mario to boulder through enemies and hard surfaces. The Spin Drill is one of the more unique abilities, and is one that could only ever be achieved in Super Mario Galaxy style of gameplay. The drill allows Mario to literally drill through the core of a planet and pop out on the opposite side, creating many new innovative and interesting puzzles. Finally, Super Mario Galaxy 2 built upon the first game's multiplayer component by adding a new playable character known as Co-Star Luma. The co-star Luma closely follows behind Mario, but his actions are controlled by a second party, allowing for a second player to be even more involved in the fun of the game. Super Mario 3D World is the first 3D Mario game to be completely linear like the 2D Mario entries, but at the same time the game feels like the perfect combination between the two styles. While the core Mario gameplay is reminiscent of its predecessors, the game has a much stronger focus on using power-ups and finding collectibles. The cat suit and the double cherry provided a fresh twist and are some of the most revolutionary power-ups in Mario's arsenal in recent years. 3D World also brought back the feature of having 4 playable characters with unique abilities, a feature that has been dormant in the Mario series since Mario 2. By having many different characters to choose from and a plethora of power-ups, players can complete levels differently each time. Also, for the first time, Nintendo added a sub-game into a mainstream Mario game with the Captain Toad levels. These levels, though scarce, were a fresh aside from the main game. In fact, these levels were so well received that Nintendo made Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, a game consisting solely of these missions. Where 3D World thrives is in its multiplayer, where up to 4 people can complete levels while also competing with each other to collect the most points. The person with the most points at the end of each level is awarded with a crown, and all it does is make the other people playing the game target the king or queen, and sabotage their reign in order to wear the crown the next time around. Mario 3D World set the standard for what a 3D Mario game should have in terms of content and multiplayer, while also providing a fresh take on a timeless formula. While we enjoyed the fast-paced parkour and depth of Super Mario Sunshine and the fun, chaotic multiplayer of Super Mario 3D World, ultimately we agreed that the Galaxy games reached the height of gameplay in the series, and of course, Super Mario Galaxy 2 was the more refined of the bunch.
Sound. Super Mario 64 introduced a large variety of memorable music. Some of these tracks include the main theme of the game and Princess Peach's Castle, all of which have appeared in later Mario titles at some point or another. Some other memorable tracks include the music from Dire Dire Docks, Tick-Tock Clock, and Bowser's Dark World. Once again, Super Mario 64 set the standard for the series in this category. Super Mario Sunshine introduced some great and memorable tracks. Unfortunately, because they all fit with the tropical theme of the game, they were condemned to never making it out of this one game. Nintendo has also made a risky decision by introducing full voice acting to the game, and unfortunately, it was not the best of decisions.
Leave my mama alone, you bad man. I won't let you take Mama Peach away.
Mama? Mama Peach? I'm your mama?
Yeah, Papa told me all about it.
Characters such as Bowser and Peach, who had always been left up to the player's imagination, were now given distinct voices, causing a rift in the community. While some might praise the decision, ultimately more people were turned off by hearing these characters speak, which is likely why Nintendo had never made the decision again.
That was you?
Heavily emphasized as being the first Nintendo game to have full live orchestrated soundtrack, Super Mario Galaxy does not disappoint in the sound department. Featuring 4 compositions by Koji Kondo and the remainder from Mahito Yokota, the sounds of the game went on to win various awards and is arguably one of the best game soundtracks of all time. From the sound of Mario jumping to the sound of a star bit hitting an enemy, each sound fits perfectly into the game's atmosphere. There's not a single piece that feels out of place, and the music truly makes the game feel out of this world. Much like its predecessor, Super Mario Galaxy 2 features a fully orchestrated soundtrack, compiled of tons of new and memorable tracks. With 64 original compositions by Koji Kondo, Mahito Yokota, and Ryu Nagamatsu, this was definitely one superb soundtrack. While many of the songs in Super Mario 3D World are unoriginal, older tracks are as catchy as they've ever been, with old favorites like the slide theme from Super Mario 64 and the Super Mario Bros. 2 character select theme, just to name a few. New tracks like Super Bell Hill and the World 3 Athletic theme were some of the best Mario songs in recent years. As a series first, 3D World had full levels completely dedicated to completing them in unison with the beat of the music track. While every single one of these games is filled with unbelievable range and music, the decision ultimately came down to the Super Mario 64 and Super Mario Galaxy. While both games have a large amount of memorable tracks, ultimately, the production value that was put into Mario Galaxy's orchestrated soundtrack trumps the extra few memorable songs that 64 has over the game. Story and characters.
While Super Mario 64 did not introduce many new characters, the ones that already existed received major development and personality. For the first time, Peach, Bowser, and even Toad were given voices beyond what they had been given in previous games. The game also introduced many new races of the series, such as penguins, red bomb-ombs, and the Womps. Even a fan-favorite character made a small cameo at the end of the game. Unfortunately, one of the major characters in the series was missing, Luigi. Not only was he not playable for the first time, he did not even make a small appearance in the title. As with many Super Mario titles, the game does not have much in story outside of contextual reasoning for going on an adventure. However, some of the dialogue within games can be quite humorous, and this was definitely a step forward for the series. While many may criticize the voice acting in Sunshine, it did allow for full cutscenes to be included in the game. This enabled a much more developed storyline with a stronger narrative than seen in earlier Mario games. This game also includes some series staple characters such as Bowser's son, Bowser Jr., and Peach's advisor, Toadsworth. In addition, the game also introduced the Pianta race, which some would argue are the most memorable race of NPCs to ever be included in the Mario series since the Toads. However, once again, Luigi was completely absent from this adventure. The story of Galaxy involves the beginning of the Centennial Star Festival to celebrate the overpassing of a comet. As always, Bowser is ready to spoil the party and kidnaps Princess Peach to achieve his master plan of ruling over the galaxy with her by his side. After Bowser lifts the castle from the ground, Mario is launched into meeting Rosalina, an enchantress who is Watcher of the Stars. Rosalina is so loved due to what can be found in the secrets of her library. Her storybook provides a large backstory to her character, which is the most in-depth that Nintendo has gone with a new Mario character. With the use of Rosalina's Comet Observatory, Mario sets off on his adventure to obtain Power Stars to power this observatory. Super Mario Galaxy not only introduced the now fan-favorite character of Rosalina, but also the beloved Captain Toad, who recently received his own game. The introduction of these two characters, along with others such as the Queen Bee, the Lumas, Kamala, and Bouldergeist, helped Super Mario Galaxy ultimately shape the 3D Mario games into what they are today. Unlike its predecessor, Super Mario Galaxy 2 did not have much focus on a narrative. As a matter of fact, the game almost completely lacks any substantial story outside of general context. This came as a big disappointment for fans of the original game after seeing how much depth could be delivered through Rosalina's storybook. This game also did not introduce many notable characters outside of Lubba, and even then, Lubba was not even half the character that Rosalina or Captain Toad was. Super Mario Galaxy 2 definitely took a step backward in terms of story and character. This time around, Bowser didn't capture Princess Peach. Instead, he captured a new race introduced into the Mario series known as Sprixies. Though Mario games are not known for their stories, this new scenario is a pleasant change for both characters and fans. Mario, Luigi, Peach, Toad, and the unlockable Rosalina all play differently because of their unique abilities, and they all have their strengths and weaknesses, balancing the game for players of all experiences. In all honesty, when thinking about the story and characters in each of these titles, the decision was always between Super Mario Sunshine and Super Mario Galaxy. Super Mario Sunshine included the first ever narrative in the 3D Mario group of games, but Super Mario Galaxy introduced two of the best received characters in the series' later years. It was a tough choice, but ultimately, our group values the characters of Bowser Jr., Toadsworth, and the Piantas over Rosalina, Captain Toad, and the Lumas, despite their popularity, making Super Mario Sunshine the definitive game in terms of story and characters.
Charm. Super Mario 64 held a lot of its charm in the fact that it was the first 3D game that most people played, exploring environments and revisiting characters that were initially introduced on a two-dimensional canvas, and seeing them vibrantly evolve into beautiful three-dimensional models was a treat in itself. Also, the game's atmosphere took the player on a roller coaster, from the rich and colorful environments of the Rainbow Cruise to the dark and eerie settings of Big Boo's Haunt. The first 3D platformer in history, Super Mario 64 actually seemed to have it all. Super Mario Sunshine felt like a vacation from the Super Mario series, and much like any vacation, it had to end, and it was filled with memorable and forgettable moments. While the tropical theme really did have an appeal of its own, we can't really say that we wish for the series to ever return to this structure. Al Delfino was a memorable and fun trip, but we simply want to leave it at that and explore more variety of worlds in future games. In an unexplainable way, Super Mario Galaxy is sure to charm both the player and other viewers. With the use of light colors mixed with a floating Mario, the game features an elegant charm which is easy to fall in love with. It showcases light humor through the way Mario traverses the skies and launches across the galaxy. The way these beautiful galaxies are designed creates a state of awe when looking at the planet just a bit onto the horizon. Finally, the characters create a unique atmosphere that completely indulges the player, and combined with the music, ultimately makes an incredibly charming game. In simplicity, Super Mario Galaxy is a game of breathtaking beauty in every way. Super Mario Galaxy 2 shares most of its charm with its predecessor. With the use of light colors mixed with the floating Mario, the game creates an elegant charm which is easy to fall back in love with. However, the removal of many of the story elements, the game loses its sense of scale and ultimately remains in the shadow of its much more epic predecessor. The 3D World has more nostalgia depending on how long a player has been playing the Mario series. References to Super Mario Bros. 2 are everywhere, and so many enemies return for the first time in ages. Even fans of the Galaxy games have something to be giddy about with the inclusion of Rosalina and key pieces of music from those games. Most of this game's charm comes from the memories players create during co-op, because it's definitely the definitive way to play. Literally every single one of these Mario console games has a fantastic charm that is completely distinct from the rest of the series. It is very difficult to judge this category because of this. However, one game of this bunch holds its charm by allowing players to revisit nostalgic elements from their previous games, both 2D and 3D, creating a truly unique yet familiar experience. Ultimately, Super Mario 3D World holds the definitive charm for incorporating elements from all of Mario's adventures, reminding the player just how far they've come on this epic journey. Level design.
For the first time in the series, Mario was no longer confined to a linear pathway. In Super Mario 64, the freedom to explore was handed over to the player. While the game was still structured into worlds, the player no longer had to complete a world in its entirety before moving on. A player could visit one world, complete some tasks, and then move on to another, before returning to completely finish the world. Even within the worlds themselves, the player was not constrained to one particular task. While the player had to choose a certain star at the beginning of each level, the player did not have to keep their promise to the game. They could easily venture off the pathway and collect a different star, creating a completely open world experience within each of these uniquely themed areas. The worlds themselves came in a large variety, from a Civil War themed level on Bomb on Battlefield to the inner workings of a clock. Super Mario 64 plays with our imaginations and allows the player to completely decide how they want Mario to progress on his quest. Super Mario Sunshine had some brilliantly designed levels with massive platforming structures. Levels such as Peanut Park, Rico Harbor, and Bianco Hills were filled with beautiful environments and fantastic tasks. Unfortunately, the problem that Super Mario Sunshine faced was its lack in variety. Almost every single world fits the overall tropical theme of the game, and while this may make the entire world feel complete, it also made the game feel very sparse. In addition, Super Mario Sunshine was much more linear than Super Mario 64. While each world still contained multiple tasks, you were generally constrained to completing a certain one or two tasks in each level, discouraging the player from exploring and steering them down the path that Nintendo wanted them to take. Super Mario Galaxy took the series further into the linear direction that it is in today. Due to the interesting and welcomed gravity mechanic, the level designers were able to basically let their imaginations run wild in terms of design. Each level was known as a galaxy, and had themes such as beaches, bees, and warships, while still encompassing an interesting design due to the space aspect. Certain galaxies also revolve around power-up mechanics and are designed beautifully, such as Honey Hive Galaxy. In terms of boss battles, each boss in the game made use of the gravity mechanic and sphere walking to make each fight feel catered for the gameplay. Bosses are challenging but aren't impossible and require quick thinking with a mix of confidence in the player's mastery of the game mechanics. Every aspect of the level design in Super Mario Galaxy became a staple for Mario games in the current era. Super Mario Galaxy 2 delivered levels with very linear pathways similar to its predecessor. However, many of the levels in this game had fewer power stars to collect, which meant you would spend less time in each world. While this allowed for a larger variety of worlds, it also made each world feel less memorable, as they started to become more like stages rather than fully blown worlds. In addition, Super Mario Galaxy 2 lacked a hub world that connected the entire game world, which definitely felt like a step backward. That being said, many of the actual levels were very inspired, with some outrageously beautiful environments and some fantastically designed puzzles and mechanics. One of the most memorable parts of Super Mario Galaxy 2 is the level entitled Throwback Galaxy, which has Mario return to Whomp's Fortress from Super Mario 64. While the layout of the overall game world felt like a step backward, the levels themselves definitely pushed Mario into a new era of 3D platforming. Super Mario 3D World has some of the best level diversity and design in the series, because there's no set world theme. Each level in the worlds are different, with themes varying from the standard underground overworld to silhouetted, music-based, and even a level based on Mario Kart. This is attainable because of the game's linear design. Being the first Mario game to be in HD, 3D World is one of the best looking Nintendo games to date. The environments are vibrant and colorful, and it's so fun to just explore. The Super Mario series is filled with fantastic environments and structurally sound levels. However, with the series progressively becoming more linear, it became difficult to truly compare the games. While Super Mario 3D World may have the largest variety in levels, there was nothing truly holding them together in theme. Super Mario Galaxy also introduced a variety of visually and structurally beautiful levels, but unfortunately, the inability to actually explore these environments made us less attached to them. Ultimately, Super Mario 64 did it first and best. The sheer quality and variety of the levels is astounding, and the ability to explore and create your own adventure within the game allowed each player to have their own unique experience that will always remain close to their heart.
Let's have a quick recap. Best gameplay, Super Mario Galaxy 2. Best sound, Super Mario Galaxy. Best story and characters, Super Mario Sunshine. Best charm, Super Mario 3D World. And best level design, Super Mario 64. After much debate, we've come to a conclusion. The definitive home console 3D Mario game is...
It's me, Mario!
Super Mario 64. As stated before, Super Mario 64 was the basis for 3D platforming. However, despite its age, Super Mario 64 still holds up to this day as one of the greatest 3D platformers, with nothing truly breaching its level of depth, exploration, and sheer quality. While the other Mario titles have surpassed Super Mario 64 in some categories, Super Mario 64 is still the most consistent in all these areas, and its influence is very evident not only in all other games in this analysis, but many other 3D games. In conclusion, we truly believe there was no other choice but Super Mario 64 for the definitive 3D Mario title, as without it, none of these games would have been able to reach the level of success and quality that they still hold today. Thanks for checking out this series Showdown. Be sure to like and subscribe below and check out www.thehubworld.net for more content. See you at the Hub!